Hello, Professor Carstens. It's me, Sir Winston, sitting here with my colleague, Isabel Brunel. We are here enjoying a cup of tea and crumpets and would like to give you a quick history lesson. Let's get started. This sculpture is called Manticlos Apollo, and it was found in Thebes, Greece. It is one of the oldest surviving Greek sculptures from the geometric period. Why we can tell that it is from the geometric period is that it doesn't have too much shape to it. It's very boxy and symmetrical. This work is a freestanding nude male sculpture made of bronze, standing at 8 inches tall. This piece is also known to be a votive sculpture that Manticlos dedicated to Apollo. There are inscriptions on his thighs to prove it. The translation is, Manticlos dedicated me as a tithe to the far shooter, the bearer of silver bow. You, Apollo, give something pleasing in return. Now, if you look very closely, you can see that there are holes of attachment on the top of the head and the forehead. It is said that either it was in place of support for a bow, or that there was a helmet there on his head. It was also suggested that the figure could have been a warrior and held a spear in his left arm and had a shield on his right arm. This sculpture looks very different from the later and more recent sculptures that we are more familiar with. The later sculptures will look more realistic and natural rather than stylized. The later works will take on different shapes and display different emotions as well. Take for example the contrapposto stance. Even something as small as weight shift makes a huge difference to the sculpture. Manticlos doesn't have a contrapposto stance, which makes him look less realistic and more stylized. Also, if you pay attention to the facial expressions in the other pieces, that tells us a great deal about the sculptures and the emotions the creators intended to invoke. The later sculptures will also take on a more natural, curvy figure rather than a box-shaped frame like Manticlos. Well, that was interesting. Yes indeed. Are you enjoying yourself, Professor Carstens? I sure hope so. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, Sir Winston. I hope you enjoy this next masterpiece as much as you did the first one. The sculpture that I have chosen is a real beautiful one, with intense emotion behind it. It's called The Ludovici, Gaul killing himself and his wife. This freestanding sculpture is also commonly known as the Galatian suicide. This exact statue that we see here is actually a Roman copy made with white marble, unlike the original, made from bronze in 230 to 222 BC. The full original statue is no longer around, but the bases that were saved from it uncover that it was a masterpiece from the Hellenistic era. This sculpture consists of a man and a woman who we now recognize as his wife. At first glance, it is dramatic and intriguing, but as we dig deeper into the tale behind it, we uncover that it is dark, mournful, and morbid. On the left side, we see a man who notably has beautifully and perfect Hellenistic style features and proportions. Although his features are beautiful, we see him here in a state of desperation and defeat as he carefully brings a blade into his chest as an act of suicide. His facial expression depicts the pained and distressed heart after killing his wife to protect her. His wife to the right of him lies there, limbless, lifeless, and heavy hanging, which expresses the intensity of this sculpture. Julius Caesar used copies of this sculpture as propaganda to express Roman victories over the Gauls. These relationships between Hellenistic culture and Roman culture are crucial for understanding this time period. That was phenomenal, Sir Winston. Why, thank you, Isambo Brunel. We hope you learned a little something from our lecture, but sadly we have to go now. Cheers!